Alright guys, good day to you wherever you are watching this tutorial today. I'm saying a very big welcome to you to my YouTube channel today, Mark Peace Studios. Today I'll be teaching us how to whiten the eyeball and the teeth of your model. First, I would like you to understand something. I'll be teaching you two approaches to whitening the teeth and the eyeballs of your model. Two approaches, one in the normal interface of Photoshop and the other in Camera Raw filter. Now, let's get started. First and foremost, I will teach you the first approach, which is whitening the eyeballs and the teeth in the interface of Photoshop. The very first thing you do is this. This is a beautiful picture of the beautiful model Moyosore, although she was my school daughter while I was in the university. Shout out to Moyosore. Now, the very first thing you want to do here is to make sure you must have done the frequency separation of whatever image you are working on. And after that, what you do is create a merge visible layer. And how do you create a merge visible layer? You do this by pressing Ctrl or Command Shift and alternative or Option E. Ctrl or Command Shift and alternative or Option E. This will make you to create a merge visible layer. After you've done this, all you have to do here is to create an adjustment layer, which is called the hue and saturation adjustments layer. You can see this. You can see the sliders that's prompted up when you click the hue and saturation adjustment layer. What you do here is you click on master, you select yellow, and the reason why we are selecting yellow, the reason why we are working on the yellow aspect is because if you look straight into the eyeballs of the model, you will see that we have some yellow elements, some yellowish elements in the eyes of the model. Now we don't want to have a colored eyeball. What we want to do is to whiten the eyeball. How do we do this? Now, after you must have selected the yellow slider, what you do is you kill the saturation. You reduce the saturation by sliding your saturation slide to about -72. You don't have to do this to kill it all to -100. All you have to just do is to let it go at about -72. And another thing is, we are trying to whiten the eyeball. We are trying to lighten up the eyeball. What we do again here is to increase the lightness. Yes, you increase the lightness a little bit to about 25, 26 thereabouts. After you must have done this, if you still look straight into the eyeballs, you'll see some reddish elements too. We don't want to do with the reddish elements. So you click your slider again, you select the red slider. You do the same thing you did to the yellow slider. You kill the saturation. Don't mind the fact that your adjustment is affecting the overall image. We will know how to handle that in few seconds or few minutes time now. So after you must have done this, you kill it to about -75. You increase the lightness to about 20-25 thereabouts. And another thing is, you want to try to cool down the looks of this color. So you just adjust your hue a little to about -6. It will help you to cool down the whole effect. Now, after you must have done this, you want to select another adjustment layer, and the adjustment layer is called photo filter. This photo filter helps to cool down the overall image. It helps you to cool down the overall image. Yes, it will affect the overall image at the first instance. You can see this, we have a cooling kind of color over all the image. What you want to do now is to reduce the density to about, say, 10 or 9. Yes, let's leave it at 9 in this case. So after you must have selected that, the thing you do now is you select your photo filter adjustment layer and hue and saturation adjustment layer by pressing Ctrl or Command to select these two. After this, all you have to do again is select your Ctrl or Command G to group these two adjustment layers. After you must have pressed your Ctrl or Command G, you can now rename this eye and teeth whitening. Eye and teeth whitening. Now you want to do away with the whole of these colors and all. This your adjustment is affecting the whole image already, and you don't want that to happen. All you have to do is select your alternative or option key, then click on this add layer mask. Click on it with after you must have pressed your alternative or option key. You can see this all disappears, and what that does is to hide that adjustment layer. It is going to help you to mask out the adjustment layer. Now you select your brush tool, increase the opacity to 100%, flow 100%. Your mode has to be normal, and mind you have to pick a very soft brush. You right click and click a soft brush. Another thing you want to take note here is making sure your foreground color here is white. You pick a white brush, a white soft brush. If you have another color here, all you have to just do is select this particular icon. When you click on this particular icon, it gives you a black and white, and the white has to be in the foreground. Now you selected a white soft brush. All you just have to do directly now is to start painting to create the magic. It's to start painting the eyeballs of the model to start creating the magic. Now let us get started as we do this. You use the bracket keys on your keyboard to increase or decrease the size of your brush. Now we can start painting. Wow, you can see the difference already. Another thing you have to do is to make sure you are very careful enough. Make sure to be very careful enough to paint the eyeballs of your model, because you don't want to overpaint. And let's take, for instance, you must have painted overboard. You painted the areas you're not supposed to paint. Let's assume you mistakenly paint on this black part of the eyeball. You paint into the pupil of the eyes. All you just have to do is to select the black brush, and you regain back the color, the original color of that, because you don't want to paint that. All you want to paint is just the whitish eyeball. Now let us go back to our white brush. We can now see the difference. Now let us click this eye icon here to see the before and after, before and after, before and after. Now let's go to the second eyeball. Then you start painting again. You reduce my brush. You paint. You should also try to paint the catch lights also, just to make them boost. Wow. After this is done, we can now see the difference from where we are coming from and where we are. Let us click before and after again to see the magic we've done so far. Before and after, before and after. Now you can see it's a very beautiful approach and very easy steps, and mind-blowing one actually, to achieve this whitening of the eyes. Now we want to paint over the teeth too. All we just have to do is to paint again. Can we see that? It is that simple. You have to be very careful. Zoom in by using Ctrl or Command plus or minus. You have to be very careful while painting this also. After you've done this, we can see the outcome already. Wow. Woo! Before and after. Before and after. If you feel this effect is too much on your work, all you just have to do is reduce the opacity. In my case here, I might just want to leave it at around 78, 76. Yes, let's leave it at 76. This is so perfect. Can we see that now? Here is our before and after, before and after. So guys, this is a very simple technique, a very simple approach to doing your whitening of the eyeball. It's as simple as that. That is going to be the end of the first approach to whitening the eyes of any model of your choice. Now, permit me to delete this layer because I'll be teaching you how to go about the second approach. If you have a camera raw filter in your Photoshop, this next approach is going to be very useful for you. Thank you very much. I'm about to delete this now. Just click on the layer and press delete. Now we don't have that anymore. What we want to do now is to duplicate this layer. The reason why you are duplicating this very layer now is because you do not want to just paint the eyeballs and eventually you might want to decrease the opacity and you don't have an extra layer where you will be able to reduce the opacity. You don't have an extra layer if you don't duplicate this. Now you have to duplicate this just so you have an extra layer where you'll be working on. After doing this, by pressing Ctrl J, you come to filter, select camera raw. Allow the camera raw to pop up. Now that we have our camera raw here, you zoom into this picture by pressing Ctrl or Command plus or minus. Ctrl or Command plus or minus. Yes, in this approach, we will be using the adjustment brush. Now let us click to select this is the adjustment brush, or you can just select option K. Sorry, you can just select the key K, letter K on your keyboard. You must have selected your adjustment brush by doing that. So now we have the adjustment brush. All you want to do here again is to make sure you try as much as you can to set your adjustment brush to cool a little. The reason why we are cooling the brush is to make sure we don't have a whole warm eyeball. Now, how do you cool this? You slide down your temperature to about minus, or let's leave it at minus 36. Your tint also can be about plus 27. Yes, plus 27. Now after doing that, you adjust your exposure slider. It's okay at 0.40, contrast at minus 19, highlights at plus 5, shadows at plus 69, my white at plus 10, black plus 14. Texture, you can just leave the texture that way. clarity at +3, the haze at +15. Now don't forget, we are trying to do away with the colors we have in the eyes, in the eyeballs. Now you have to kill the saturation almost totally to about -84. Now we can start painting. In this very approach, you have to be extremely more careful. It's the most simplest actually, but you have to be very careful. Now we can see the difference already. We start painting the eyeballs. You can see we have a white eyeball already. You use your bracket keys to also reduce the brush, the adjustment brush. Paint patiently. Go to the other eyeball and start painting again. Wow, we can now see we have a magical eyeball of our beautiful model Moyosore. Here is our before and after. Before and after. Wow. Now let us go into painting the teeth also. Here you should be very careful, like I've told you earlier, because you don't want it to just look awkward. It is best for you to always zoom in, just so you paint into details. Wow. Now we have before and after, before and after. So guys, this is the very most interesting and simple way to paint or to whiten the eyeballs and teeth of any model you are working on. Now after doing this, you click OK, and tada, we have a very brilliant white eyeballs. If this seems too much, you know what to do already. You go to your opacity and reduce it to whatever you want. In my case here, I can leave it to about -74, to about 74% opacity. Now we have the eyeballs treated already. Beautiful and flawless eyeball for Moyosore. Guys, thank you very much. That will be all for today. That is a very simple approach using the camera raw filter to achieve whitened eyeball. Thank you very much guys for watching, teaching you how to do this. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and also like and comment. Your engagement matters a lot on this video, as it will help to bring more and more suggestions whenever people search for tutorials. Thank you very much for watching guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course share. See you in next tutorial.